My name is H. Parrott Bako. I have been the furnishings consultant for this house since its inception.
What are some of the pieces that we're looking at? Tell us about this bed.
Well, this bed is a Louisiana-made bed of poplar, and I think what's particularly interesting for people from other parts of the world is the mosquito bar. We have a very serious problem with mosquitoes here, and you would climb into bed and push the bar forward, and you would be protected, hopefully, from mosquitoes for the day.
What were some of the concerns about mosquitoes during this time?
They first, if you've been bitten by one, they make unpleasant welts. They're very uncomfortable. I don't think that they totally realized how much disease came from the mosquito. They finally figured out that's where yellow fever came from. Here is a child's Campeche chair. These chairs, their origin is Spanish, and they came from Spain to the Yucatan. And of course, Spain ruled Louisiana for 39 years. And these kinds of chairs, the idea came up to New Orleans from the Yucatan. And in fact, they're a lolling chair, and Thomas Jefferson even had one that was given to him by his friend Mr. Robinson in New Orleans in 1819. They come in this size, they come in adult sizes as well. But this is where the idea started in the United States, was in Louisiana. We have a wonderful group of Creole chairs over here. We're very proud of the ladder-back chairs with their marvelous turnings. You'll notice these kind of sausage-like turnings, and this one was made in New Orleans and terminates in a nipple finial. These little chairs here were made right here in Baton Rouge, and they have a ball finial. This one over here, you'll notice, has acorn finials, and it's kind of a low profile or low relief group of turnings on it. It was made on River Road. And we're showing it here as if it were a prie-dieu, where the people would kneel on this Acadian-made cotton fabric to do their prayers. This lovely little American walnut table with the exaggerated cabriole legs is the beginning of our Creole furniture story. It, of course, comes straight out of Baroque France with its pied de biche leg. You notice it's an exaggerated curve, and it has a little hoof foot down here at the bottom. Now, the thing that makes this American is the wood only. It is really just a copy almost of a French table. And so, but this is where we begin. Now, this table, if it were in France, it would have probably been made in the 1730s. Here, we think probably 1750s or 1760s. So we are retardé when we talk about Creole furniture. We will follow the French styles, but we get them a little bit later than they're doing them in France. And of course, this is a provincial style piece, not a Paris designed piece.
What does it mean to be Creole? Okay,
we are using the word Creole in its most generic sense. The Portuguese and the Spanish started with the word Creola, and that word becomes Creole in French. Now, what it means, though, is something that is either born or made in a place but is not indigenous to the place. So something like this table, obviously American Indians would not be making this kind of table. So this fits our description just perfectly. And to give you some more examples, think about Creole tomatoes. Obviously tomatoes originated in South America, but when we get them up here, there's a little bit of changing around, and we're able to call them a Creole tomato. This armoire brings us to our second phase in the Creolization or acculturation of furniture making in Louisiana. Please note that it has cartouched panels on the upper section, very rococo. And you'll also notice it has inlay, the 6 pointed stars and the pie shape in the center of the frieze, and fairly chunky cabriole legs, and again, the large English-made fiche hinges in the French taste. Now, this piece we're very excited about because we know who made it. It was made by a man named A. Babin, who was working in St. Gabriel, Louisiana, only 13 miles down the river from us here in Baton Rouge. And he was working in the late 18th century and early 19th century. You say, how do you know? Well, we have two pieces that are still in St. Gabriel, and we have one that belongs to another collector that is marked Par et Babin 1802. So this is the tail end of the colonial era. So the next thing that you will see will be a neoclassical piece.
Who would have owned a piece like this?
Well, these pieces would have been owned by fairly well-to-do people. They were not cheap when they were made. This one, again, is walnut. The secondary wood is cypress. The inlay is done of native woods, and I cannot tell you, I'm guessing it's probably sycamore or holly or something like that that they would have used. And you know, it's got a lot of Frenchness in it with these ovalo corners on it. It's really coming straight out of provincial France, but a little bit different than what they would do there. The inlay work particularly is different from what the French would do. And of course, you're not going to find a Native American walnut piece in France. When we get to the latter part of the 18th century and the early 19th century, our fully acculturated Creole type of furniture comes into existence. And of course, the armoire is our signature piece. And here we have a really quite extraordinary example made this time of mahogany brought up from the islands. The secondary would, of course, be native cypress. But what I want to call particular attention to you is the fiches. These are these exposed hinges in French. These are actually pewter with brass ball finials on their each end. And of course, this would be put over an iron hinge. This is just to make it fancy and decorative. If we come down all the way to the foot, you'll notice the brass ball has a necking that is absolutely cylindrical. This, we think, identifies this piece as being made, a piece of brass is being made in New Orleans. The New York made brass ball feet, which is the other place they make them, are tapered. So that's a key ingredient to identifying things. Also very neoclassical, as you can see, is the reading on the legs. And notice that the guy cheated a little bit. The rear legs are actually just turned wood rather than having the brass balls. Brass was expensive. When we go inside, we find other things that are very interesting. Typical of our Creole armoires is having the belt of 3 drawers across the center of the piece. The French will do it too, but they usually drop them to the bottom. Also, very rare are the pulls here. These are Sheffield plate. All of the brass on this piece, except for the New Orleans made hinges this time, are English made. They made them in Birmingham particularly, and what they did was they had a hand rubbing process to put the silver. It was like a paste that went on. And the old silver plate made by the Sheffield process doesn't last as long as the modern electroplating, but that's how they did it when this piece was made.